deep below the ground of one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Beneath all the sewers and metro lines, you'll discover a maze of tunnels that many dead call their final resting place. Over 40 million people each year visit Paris, often exploring the Eiffel Tower or the Arc de Triomphe, not knowing there are catacombs beneath their feet lined with human bones. Today I will delve into the dark history of the Paris Catacombs, from its humble beginnings to the dark, creepy tunnels that have claimed many lives over the years. Long ago, the catacombs were a collection of mines called the Tombissoir quarries, used for mining Lucian limestone. This was a popular material to build with in the 15th and 16th centuries and helped to create buildings like the Louvre Museum, for example. When the mines dried up, the quarry was abandoned and somewhat forgotten about. As Paris became more and more popular with travellers, many decided to make this city their new home. But like anything that is still developing, too much all at once can have a huge demand on the available resources, and that included burial sites, leading to an abundance of problems. See, long ago, streets were just made of mud and dirt, with residents, like in other areas of the world, just throwing their trash, including human waste, out into the street. This led to disease like the bubonic plague and vermin problems, resulting in even more death. When someone died, often they would leave the body in the street to be collected and taken to a cemetery. But by the 18th century, a new problem occurred, and that was overcrowding. Gravediggers would bury bodies on top of other bodies to save space, until it got to a point where there was no soil left to cover the dead, meaning that you'd walk by and see rotting corpses exposed, and anyone living close by could smell the strong odours of decay, often becoming sick themselves. Something had to be done about this problem, so the city officials got together and it was decided that all the bodies, approximately 6 million during the 12 years this took place, would be moved to the deserted tunnels. So, in 1786, the cemeteries were dug up, starting with Les Innocents, who after a particularly long rainfall had bodies spilling out from a crumbled wall. The dead were transported across the city and then lowered approximately 65 feet below ground level to rest in the 180 miles of tunnels. All of this was done while everyone else was tucked away in bed to avoid upsetting the residents and the church. Then in 1840, Napoleon III and city planner Baron Haussmann decided that Paris needed a makeover. They widened roads and remodelled quite a bit of the city, but also, to do all of this, they needed to move even more dead into the tunnels. In 1860, the tunnels were officially titled the Paris Municipal Ossuary, but that quickly changed to catacombs after the recent discovery at the time of the catacombs in Italy. So what weird and wonderful things have happened in the mine, you might wonder? Well, in the 19th century, a man by the name of Monsieur Chambéry was exploring the tunnels when he came across mushrooms growing. This sparked an idea in him. Why not start planting my own mushrooms down here? And as surprising as the idea may have been, others followed suit, eventually becoming recognised by the Horticultural Society of Paris. In 1793, during the French Revolution, a man named Philibert Aspiret met a horrible end in the tunnels. He was a doorman at the Val de Grace Hospital when he was sent on an errand to retrieve liquor from a cellar. Sadly, it seems that the poor man may have been intoxicated at the time of this task and ended up entering the Paris Catacombs. Armed with only his mission and a single candle, he quickly became lost and confused. Trying to find the right way out, his candle suddenly blew out and everything went black. Now he was afraid, but fear only drove him further and further into the tunnels. It was only a few years ago that his body was finally discovered by a group of cataphiles, who are people that like to explore the catacombs via hidden entrances, helping to map out the network of tunnels. He was identified by a hospital key that was still hanging from his belt. Today he is buried where he was found, with a tombstone describing his death. It is believed that on November 3rd each year, the day he went missing, Philibert's spirit walks the tunnels once more, forever trying to find his way out. If you bring a candle with you on this day, many have described hearing his disembodied voice whispering to them, before suddenly their candle blowing out. One of the most notable things about the tunnels today is the hundreds of bones that line the walls, with some being considered works of art. Between 1810 and 1814, a French mining engineer and politician decided to rearrange the bones, making a museum through art. One of the most famous of these pieces is the structure known as the barrel, which is also a support beam, along with other sculptures produced by the quarry miner Francois Decour. And when you consider the dark, creepy and damp conditions down there, creating anything must be a feat in itself. During World War II, Paris came under control of Germany, resulting in the French resistance being created. These brave people stood against the Nazis, saving many Jewish people who were trapped in the city by using the tunnels to move around unnoticed. The next event happened in the early 1990s, and I have to say this one got to me. A group of cataphiles were exploring the tunnels when they came across a video camera lying on the ground. Picking it up, they discovered that it still had footage on it and so played the video, something many of them may have regretted. You see, the video showed a man who had got himself lost in the catacombs, and it was clear to all who were witnessing the video that he was going insane. He was afraid, paranoid, talking gibberish, and surrounded by the dead. What was also disturbing was the sounds that could be heard in the background, coming from the tunnels, that were sinister to say the least. Suddenly the video ends abruptly as the man drops the video camera on the ground. No one knows why, but worse yet, no one knows what happened to the man. Did he get out safely, or is his body waiting in the darkness to be discovered? It is strongly believed by many that this incident inspired the movie As Above, So Below. Could his demise have been brought about by a famous Paris catacomb legend? You see, the story goes that after midnight, disembodied voices will try to lure you deeper into the tunnels, trapping you forever with the other spirits lurking in the darkness. Do you think that was what happened to the mystery video camera guy? And does that explain the creepy noises picked up on the footage? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. You have been able to visit the tunnels since 1809, but the rules have changed greatly over the years, quite likely for safety issues. Only about 1.5 miles of the tunnels can be visited today, but nowadays you won't need an appointment. You will walk down 131 steps to reach your destination and are met with a sign that translates as "Stop, this is the Empire of Death." That is some greeting right there. The rest of the catacombs are closed to the public as a matter of safety. But with so much of the catacombs left undiscovered, and with restricted access, what else lurks down there? In September 2004, a group of police officers were exploring the restricted area when they came across something that totally stopped them in their tracks. They discovered a PA system which was playing a pre-recorded track of a dog barking, probably meant to deter people from venturing any further. Well, that didn't stop the police, and soon they discovered a 3,000 square foot area wired for phones that used pirated electricity. But it doesn't stop there, as then they found a workshop, living area, a fully stocked bar, and even a cinema that could seat 20 people, with seats carved into the stone of the catacombs. But you want to know what the worst part was? They looked up and found cameras on the ceiling. Someone was watching them. A few days later, a large team of officers went back down to investigate the site further. But like I said, they had been watched, and so everything had been stripped out. The cinema, phone lines, everything. The only thing left behind was a note which translates as "Do not search." It is believed the group involved is called Le Mexicain de Perforation, which translates as Mexican Consolidated Drilling Authority. They are a French group called UX, which stands for Urban Experiment, providing illegal artistic events. Finally, in 2017, 2 events happened in the Paris Catacombs which alarmed many people. Firstly, 2 teenagers decided to venture where they shouldn't and got themselves lost for 3 days. Luckily, their fate was not to be the same as the others we've discussed, as fire service dogs managed to sniff them out. And after 3 days trapped, I bet that was unpleasant for the hounds. Then a serious crime took place too. Over 300 bottles of vintage wine, valued at close to €250,000, which is around $267,000, were stolen from someone's wine cellar. The gang of robbers did this by breaking through via the tunnels and making their escape the same way. You gotta give them their due, they were crafty about it. I'm surprised the tunnels are as active as they are for trespassing, especially with all the creepy stories that float around about the catacombs. There are reports of cold spots, shadow figures, as well as being touched by unseen hands and feeling that you're being followed. Is this considered proof that spirits walk the tunnels, or are people's senses in overdrive due to the dark, creepy conditions? What do you think? Personally, I think with so many bodies being displaced and evidence of people losing their lives down there from getting lost, and let's be clear, no one knows how many bodies of lost wanderers are still down there. It makes sense that paranormal activity could be taking place. But if that doesn't put you off, if you get the chance to visit Paris and want to experience something truly unique, then why not give the catacombs a go? Just remember though, this will be quite an intense experience on a physical and emotional level, and also this is a graveyard, so please be respectful of those who are laid to rest there. As always, until next time, dissectors, stay safe out there.